Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the channel. We have finally got my partner's Polo back from the body shop. Big shout out to Classic Bodyworks in Peterborough for doing another amazing job. Did a cracking job with pulling the apron. As you can see, the panel gap now is spot on, both sides. It was just that side that wouldn't line up. This side, the wing didn't get painted. There was, if you see, remember the previous video, there was a dent in this area that got PDR'd. So in today's video, we're going to be installing the remaining parts, for example, fog light grills, fog lights, the arch liner, under tray and the spoiler at the bottom of the bumper. Then give the car a full service and change the discs and pads on the front as the discs are proper lipped. So here's some of the parts I've got installed today. The rest are in the shed, which is the arch liner, fog lights and grills. So the service kit, not the brakes, the filters, spark plug, sump plug, I got from GSF with the discount code of mid-60. I paid £37, I think it was about 45p for those items, which in my opinion, man, is the best you can get. Obviously NGK, well-known brand. The discs and the wipers I got from Euro Car Parts. So ATE, yet again, my opinion, the best replacement disc and pads you can buy for stock. And the wipers in Valio, I think they're about 22 quid for the pair. I don't personally like Bosch wipers. You fit them, 6 months later they're smearing. The under tray I got from TPS, that was around about 50 quid including VAT. You can get them second hand on eBay for about 25 quid, but half the time the holes where the arch liner screws through, I was seeing on eBay, they're all broken. I've got the guide for the front panel where the intake tube will push in here. That goes into the airbox. And then the front bumper spoiler. So the first thing I'll do, I'll get the car jacked up on extra stands and get the brakes done. One thing I mean to say, obviously I've stated I'm doing a full service. Obviously I've done the antifreeze. The antifreeze is all new when I replaced the radiator. Obviously it'll have new oil. The only thing I need to do, which won't be in today's video, I'll probably do it sometime next week, is change the brake fluid. Then that's complete full service done on the car. So just before I crack on doing the brakes, and while the bonnet's open, because obviously I'm going to undo the brake fluid reservoir cap, obviously when I push the pistons back. So if you remember rightly, there was some damage in this area which I straightened up. The body shop finished it off for me, fit new seam sealer and sprayed the area. Done a cracking job, you wouldn't tell. And obviously the apron was pulled as when I installed the wing, around about from here to here was sitting inwards. Obviously that was how the car was hit. So that's all sorted now. So I'll put it on time lapse and get the, just before I put it on time lapse, you'll see why. Can you see the state of that lip? That's why I'm changing the brakes, and might as well just give it a full service. Right, so the driver's side's now done. So the disc and pads. I'm gonna do the other side now off camera. There's no point doing the same. But if you was going to do the brakes yourself, when you put the brake reservoir cap back on, there she goes. Just remember to pump your brake pedal a few times till you get a brake pedal, because if you start driving after you've changed the brakes and not pressed on the brakes a couple of times, you're not going to have brakes for a few seconds. So also, if any of you have wondered why I've not installed copper grease to the face of the hub or to the brake pads on the edges where they go on the sliders, it's because I've used this, which is a ceramic grease. So just one last thing, if you're going to change the disc and pads on a Polo 6R6C Mark 5 platform, all the tools you need is a Torx T30 for the disc screw, a screwdriver, flathead screwdriver, which I use to obviously remove the brake fluid reservoir cap. So I get a big flathead screwdriver in between the disc and the pad, not in between the disc and the piston, as you don't want to damage the rubber seal. As you know, a few weeks or months, caliper will start binding, there's dirt ingress getting into the piston. 7mm Allen key for the top two bolts, top and bottom, which is the sliders. And luckily on these, the carrier for the caliper is part of the hub, so that does not have to be removed, as you can't. Wire brush to clean up all brake dust, some brake cleaner and some blue roll, and obviously some brake grease. But yeah, pretty simple to do on these. So that's both brakes done on the front. Just got the car running, let the oil warm up a little bit, because that will be the next step, will be drain the oil, change the oil filter, refill it, spark plugs, air filter, pollen filter, and then the fuel filter. So now the car's all warmed up, I can now turn it off and remove the sump plug from the oil sump, which is a 6mm hex, and the oil filter casing is a 36mm socket. So I've just checked auto data. The car takes 2.8 litres. The oil I'm using on it is Quantum, which is sold by TPS, the Volkswagen Audi parts group. It used to be, Quantum used to be Castrol about 5-6 years ago. So you could either have Quantum in a bottle as Quantum, or TPS also used to sell Castrol bottles, 530, 4 litres. I think it used to be about £22 including VAT. That we're talking probably about 5, maybe 6 years ago. But now Quantum is Fuchs, which Fuchs do a lot of, from cars to motorbikes, really good oil. And I think that's about, it's cracking price as well. I think it's about £20 including VAT. So if you went Volkswagen or Audi and asked for Quantum 5 litres, you're probably talking about £40, 45 including VAT. Just to give you a little heads up. So I'll get that in the car now. I'm not going to do spot on 2.8 litres here because the incline, I want a flat surface. So as long as I can see it at the bottom of the dipstick. And then once I get on a nice flat surface, I can top up the remaining. So the last thing to do underneath the bonnet is fit the new spark plugs, the air filter, then the duct pipe with the plastic piece that goes into here. Right, so that's all the work done underneath the bonnet now. Next step will be the fuel filter, and then we'll get the little last bits done to the car. Arch liner, fog light grills, etc. So I'll just show you where the fuel filter is on a UK right-hand drive car. Driver's side, underneath the car, just in front of the rear wheel. Just here where my finger is, that's the fuel filter. I'm not be able to video it because obviously I haven't got a ramp. So it's not, I haven't got a really good camera angle, but I just thought I'd show you. Just get it out. Spark plugs were the original ones when my camera focuses. The air filter is original Volkswagen. It's flapping away. And look, man filter. So here's the original fuel filter, made by UFI. Obviously, as this is a 63 plate from the year of that, looks like it is the original. Here's a replacement, so I'll get that on now quickly. So the fuel filter is now on. So the last thing I'm going to do is put some Win's petrol fuel system cleaner. Brilliant stuff. I always do this on a petrol or diesel after changing the fuel filter. The last thing to do before to start it, just let the fuel pump prime a few times, just so it builds up fuel pressure through that fuel filter to the fuel rail. The old stoke motor, it's got a little bit of a whine to it, a bit like the old Mark IV Golfs, so I think that might be a thing I'll have to change eventually. You'll hear it now, 1 second. It's nothing to do with the auxiliary belt system. So I'll just whack a new starter on it. It does the job, but it's just that noise. Right, now onto the window wipers. You know, I see loads of people going in Halfords that doesn't know how to fit wiper blades. Most of these new cars, you've got a little button here where you press in and then you pull the wiper. And you can't get them mixed up, because you're on a right-hand drive car. The big wiper is always the driver's side, small one's the passenger side. There goes the socket. Right, I've done this bit off camera as it is Friday evening. The daylight is going. I was supposed to do this in the week, but some of you might know I don't do cars as my full-time job. I'm an ultrasonic engineer on the railway, and I've just been put back on nights, so just getting back used to it. I've been working in Willesden, London. So what I've done, I've just fitted this lower spoiler piece off camera. I've got to fit the under tray. Well, what do you call that, an under tray? Half an under tray, shall we say. And then fit the arch liner. Then we'll get the fog light grills. Or fog lights, then fog light grills. Now I've got to fit the under tray. Well, would you call that an under tray? Let's call it half an under tray. Fit that. Driver's arch liner. Put all the screws in. And fog lights. And then the grills. And then obviously I've got to do that passenger headlight washer jet. That'll be ready for MOT tomorrow. Right, as daylight is pretty much gone now, I'm going to finish it off now. It's only little bits. I wouldn't call it interesting, you know, fitting an arch liner. But obviously, like you know, it was a brand new genuine wing. So where the screws go in for the arch liner, I've got them from TPS. I think they're like 40p each. They literally, I'll try and do this one-handed, 1 second. Just push in. So that's basically like a captive nut. So I'll get all this out, I'll get all the little bits done. And then in the morning, we'll take it, well, I'll ring up the MOT station, see if they've got a slot. And if they have, this video will be up Saturday evening. I'll have to clean this arch liner tomorrow. It was second hand on eBay, I think 20 quid, genuine one. I don't like those pattern part arch liners. Not the best quality. Fitting is horrible. But I am fitting all brand new screws. Right, so it's Saturday morning. I didn't have enough screws for the fog lights. So we'll just nip to TPS quickly. Just do a cold start. Just been to my local TPS, 10 more screws. I only need 4, but I keep a few in stock. Now let's get to the post office, V62 for the car and tax it, and try and get MOT for today. Right, so it's 9 o'clock. Saturday morning. I just rang up MOT station. Luckily they've got a space for me for 10:30. Went and did the V62 form for the logbook and tried taxing it. I totally forgot. It's got to be MOT'd first. So I'll quickly do that and then I'll go to the post office after that. So I'll just put on time lapse, put the fog lights and the fog light grills. So that's all the fog lights now working. I've got 3 little jobs to do before the MOT. So I've got a passenger side washer jet, change the pollen filter and give the inside a quick hoover. It looks quite minging. So we'll start with the pollen filter now. So a pollen filter on these little Polos. They are based just under here, so this plastic here. So you've got these 2 grey plastic tabs. They will push to the middle. And this one as well. That cover comes off, and there's the pollen filter here. As you can see, it is filthy. It's the one filter that pretty much gets forgotten about on services. So obviously I've got a new one, so I'll get that in now. And there's the difference. That's both washer jets working now. Time to give it a quick hoover, then it's ready for the MOT. Well, I made it to the MOT, let's see what happens then. So we have a pass, no advisories. Finally get the car taxed now. And thanks to you, a car care at Facet. Cracking lads down there. Let's get driving this beast, 60 horsepower. So since the MOT and tax, I've just done 42.5 miles. Normally with the cars I rebuild, I normally do about 200 to 250 miles over 2 or 3 days, so like a weekend, to make sure there's no problems. Then obviously I put them up for sale, but obviously this is for my missus, I'll do 200 miles, then as long as the car's fine, I'll start letting her driving it. But the 42 miles I've just done, it's drove spot on. And another thing, that starter motor, I don't know if it's because it's been parked up for so long. You know, I got the car in November, I don't know how long it was parked at Copart for, that noise it was doing has gone. So I'll keep an eye on it. Hopefully it's gone. One less job for myself. So that's the Polo all now finished. Like you see previously, it's just past its MOT, no advisories, which is great. Just taxed it at my local, well, for 6 months at my local post office. So now my missus can start driving it. So if you do live in Peterborough, just be careful, she's going to be on the road. No, I'm only joking, she'll be alright. Yeah, I think it's come out really nice. Next thing I've got to do, like I said, next week I'll change the brake fluid and got to get the tracking done because it's gone 12 o'clock on a Saturday, unfortunately. So my tyre shop, I use Apex, they close at 12, so I'll get it tracked up on Monday. Yeah, let us know what you think in the comments. Sorry if it's been a bit boring, you know, it's just those little finishing touches. And the up should be back pretty soon. You know, it's at the body shop now. They've done a cracking job with the colour. Yeah, thanks for watching. And if you are new to the channel, subscribe. And if you like the video, give us it a thumbs up, please. Cheers.